Gundam Evolution has finally released on Steam, and honestly, it's pretty interesting, so I want to talk about it. To boil it down to the simplest level if you're too lazy to listen to the whole video, Gundam Evolution is a 6v6 class-based shooter, similar to Overwatch, based around Gundam, which for the Gundam fans out there is pretty cool, or if you're not a Gundam fan, it's also just pretty cool because it's a new fresh shooter that you can play, and it's free. The game is developed and published by Bandai Namco, which is a Japanese developer and publisher, and currently it is only available on PC, but there is a console release which is planned in December. However, weirdly enough, there will not be cross-platform play. Now, before we dive in too deep into all the nitty-gritty about Gundam Evolution, I just want to say that I'm coming at this game from the perspective of a first-person shooter fan, not really someone who's into Gundam. If I'm being honest, I'm not really into Gundam at all, so I'm purely critiquing this game on the basis of a first-person multiplayer shooter. With that caveat out of the way, let's hop right in. So I think the first thing we got to dive into first is just basically what is Gundam Evolution. Like I said earlier, it's a 6v6 class-based shooter based around the different Gundam that you can pick. The game has 3 game modes currently: Point Capture, Domination, and Destruction. Each of these have their own maps. Point Capture is a defend and attack based mode where one team is attacking a point while the other team attempts to defend it. Domination, confusingly enough, is more like King of the Hill and kind of functions just like King of the Hill did in Overwatch. Destruction has an attacking and a defending team, where the attacking team has to try and capture the points, while obviously the defending team tries to hold them off, and then you swap sides and kind of see who does it better. One mechanic that kind of makes Destruction a little bit unique is the utilization of this spawn point, where while to win the round you have to capture point A or point B, your team can also take control of this spawn point that will allow you to respawn a lot closer up if you're on the attacking side. However, the defending team can take this spawn point back, and then it makes the attacking team spawn all the way back at their original spawn. Out of the 3 game modes, I definitely prefer Point Capture and Domination. I think those flow a little bit better and are a bit more fun, but Destruction can still be pretty fun at times, and you can get those pretty epic moments where you hold off that last push, or maybe you're able to take over the point on one of your last pushes. Like I said, all of these game modes have their own maps. Point Capture has 4 maps, Domination has 3, and Destruction has 3. To play these different game modes, there are currently 3 ways you can play. There's a ranked mode that you can play once you hit a certain level or buy the premium pass. Casual mode, which is just kind of like quick play, and then there's custom games, but you can only really get into those if you're specifically trying to host a match with your friends. There isn't something like a custom game browser. There's also the practice mode, which allows you to hop in and try out the different mechs and abilities and guns and just shoot some bots and whatnot. The game has ranked, which I'm a big fan of. You guys know I'm a big sucker for ranked, but currently I've mostly been playing the casual mode, which has the 3 different game modes that you can play and also lets you get familiar with the game and kind of test out all the different mechs. Currently, there are 17 different mechs in the game, and they range from all sorts of different things. There's some melee ones, there's a sniper mech, there's some closer range mechs, there's tank mechs, there's slightly more supporting mechs, basically the whole slew of different classes you would expect. Some of the inspiration for these mechs is very on the nose, like the Pale Rider mech is basically Soldier 76, the Sniper mech is pretty similar to Widowmaker, and other mechs like that you can kind of see some of the similarities. Out of all the mechs, 5 of them are premium mechs, and you can unlock these either by earning the in-game currency or by purchasing them with microtransactions. However, at the time of recording this video, the microtransactions are still turned off. My favorite mechs so far to play are the Pale Rider mech, which is basically the Soldier 76 mech that I was telling you about earlier. There's the Gundam mech, which has a single fire, slightly longer range weapon that you can use. And then he also has a shield and kind of a hammer that you can use to stun people, with a big grenade you can throw as an ultimate. I also like playing the Turn A Gundam. He's pretty fun. He's a little bit tankier with 1100 HP, as all the different mechs have different base health point values and different dash limits, which is one of the ways you can move your characters. The game has, your standard character, although some of the mechs move a little different. Some of them are a little bit more hovery, some of them kind of run around and can strafe back and forth a little bit different, and then there's even a mech that's on wheels. However, they each have a dash ability that you can use on a cooldown, and depending on the specific mech you're playing, will determine how many dashes you get at a time, though they do regenerate. The Turn A Gundam, though, he's pretty fun. He comes with a beam rifle, which you can kind of spam, or you can charge up and absolutely melt people if you hit headshots. He also has this weird wrestling move, overhead throw, where you can grapple someone and throw them behind you and stun them, and then he also has the ability to just heal, and I'm a big fan of self-healing. The ultimate on the Turn 8 Gundam is basically you fly into the air and rain down damage on people, which is also pretty fun. Another one of the mechs that I've played a little bit of is the Sniper Mech, which, you know, kind of functions how you'd expect. The Sniper Mech can actually repair a disabled ally from a distance, which is pretty cool because when you die in this game, you don't actually instantly die, you get downed, and you don't stay down for very long, but your teammates do have the ability to res you if they're around you, or if you're playing a character like the GM Sniper, you can res them from a further distance away. The Sniper character also has the ability to place down a jump pad, which allows you to, you know, jump up in the air, and then kind of has a close range weapon if people get right on top of you. The Sniper's ult also allows you to reveal enemies and track them through walls, which is pretty cool. But yeah, those are the mechs that I've mostly been playing. Like I said, there's a little bit of everything and you can kind of test out the different mechs. Some of the mechs are definitely a little bit more powerful and more popular than others, but in my time playing so far, none of them seem absolutely ridiculous, though admittedly I'm not playing at the top tier as I haven't really gotten to ranked quite yet. For people that played this game in the earlier tests, I'm sure they could tell you some of the mechs that are a little bit more unbalanced. Unfortunately, one issue I do have with the game is that the map design is just pretty bland. While the actual layouts of the map make sense and I don't have too many issues with that, the actual map design is, in my opinion, pretty boring. Now I know they're drawing inspiration from the Gundam IP, but a lot of the maps just end up pretty gray and samey, and they really aren't that much different from each other, which just gets a little bit boring when all of the different maps that you're playing on kinda look the same. The weapons and even the Gundam design also, in my opinion, are a little bit boring. All of the guns are just plain gray if you don't have skins, which I guess is maybe their way of trying to get you to, you know, buy skins. But even the Gundams, the colors aren't really that cool, but I'm assuming that's probably just the IP, and for Gundam fans, this probably all makes sense. One cool thing that they have in Gundam Evolution is actually a nice little in-game stats page, which these days is oddly enough a rarity in online shooters, but you can see all different things in your battle record like your win rate, your KD, and all sorts of other stats you can dive in, and it even tracks like your most played units and ranked over a season and stuff like that. As of right now, the shop is broken, so you can't actually buy the currency, but the monetization in this game, since it is a free-to-play game, battles down to, you know, your standard battle pass with a shop that you can buy skins in, or you have the ability to just unlock those premium characters. Another thing to note about Gundam Evolution is the UI in this game is a little bit iffy. The menu system looks very much like a mobile game, if I'm being honest, between the different tabs, and when you're in the game, it literally looks just like Overwatch. From where the abilities sit to the cooldowns to if you pull up the scoreboard, it kind of looks just like Overwatch does, and so you can definitely tell they took some inspiration there when developing the UI. The game currently has 3 currencies, though one of them I'm not sure exactly what it is, but there's the Evo coins, which are the premium currency. You can either buy these with money when the store is working, or you can actually earn these back in the premium battle pass. Then there's Capital, which is the blue currency. You're going to earn these from challenges and also from the battle pass. And then you can also get these things called tickets from the battle pass or from completing challenges, which are going to open supply pods, which are effectively loot boxes. However, as far as I can tell, you can't buy tickets. You purely have to earn them from the battle pass or from the challenges. There is a free and a paid battle pass, and if you buy the battle pass and you complete it, you will actually earn back enough currency to buy the next battle pass, which is pretty nice. Most of the good rewards are in the paid battle pass, but that's pretty standard for a free-to-play game. The progression in this game is mostly just the battle pass, which you get through just by playing games and also completing your daily, weekly, and beginner challenges. The daily and weekly challenges are going to offer XP to get you through that battle pass, while the beginner challenges, and I assume maybe expert or intermediate challenges later on, are going to offer you things like tickets and capital for completing out those challenges. That is pretty much the gist of what is in Gundam Evolution. Now, Gundam Evolution is pretty fun, don't get me wrong. The game sounds pretty decent, it looks okay, and it feels pretty good in terms of gunplay. One thing I actually really like about Gundam Evolution is it solves one of the problems that a class-based shooter like Overwatch has, where some of the characters have no killing power. If you get stuck on a certain role in Overwatch like the healer or certain tanks, you aren't going to be able to kill someone in a 1v1 fight. However, in Gundam Evolution, even the supporty or more tanky characters all have pretty good killing power, and so effectively are more of a DPS character. Now for me, this is a pro, because I always hated getting stuck on healers or the boring tanks like a Reinhardt in Overwatch, But for some people who really enjoy that type of experience where you're playing a Reinhardt and helping out your team, or you're playing a Mercy and you're supporting your DPS, that type of playstyle will not exist in Gundam Evolution. Sure, you can play something that is slightly more tanky or slightly more supporty, but you are still going to be expected to put in some damage and get some kills on your own. For me, that's a big pro, and it's actually probably one of the things that would draw me to this game over something like Overwatch, but for other people that might not be the case. For me, the Gundam designs aren't that cool, but if you're a Gundam fan, I can imagine there's a little bit more pull to those. But when I play the different Gundams, to me, it's all just kinda samey. There isn't that unique character design that a class-based shooter like an Overwatch or an Apex or a Valorant has, where all of the characters are really unique. To me, all the Gundams kind of just feel the same, other than the different abilities they have and the different weapons. Now I know that might be blasphemous though if you are a Gundam fan. I will be interested to see how this game plays out, especially here in the West. I could see this game being very popular over in the East because Gundam is a lot more popular over there. But here in the West, especially with Overwatch 2 coming up in the near horizon, I do wonder if this game is going to struggle. There are definitely things this game does that I like more than Overwatch, but at the end of the day, the Overwatch IP is going to pull a lot more players than something like a Gundam free-to-play class-based shooter. So it'll be interesting to see how many people really end up playing this game, and especially with no cross-platform play, I do wonder if it might get harder to find matches a little bit down the road. Currently though, that is not an issue at all, as the game launched to almost 55,000 players, which isn't too bad for a game that really didn't have much marketing here in the West. If it wasn't for one of my friends talking about this game for a long time, and some people that I follow on Twitter talking about it, I really would have had no clue it was coming out. And I think that might be one of the problems. It's going to be a class-based shooter, probably directly competing with some of the same players that might play in Overwatch 2, but with probably a fraction of the marketing. Overall though, with that though, we're going to have to just kind of wait and see how that plays out. I really don't know. For all I know, this game could continue to grow and blow up here even in the West, which don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind, because like I said, the game is pretty fun and it has a ranked mode, which I'm a big fan of. I love a good ranked grind. I think that's going to do it though today, guys, for talking about Gundam Evolution. Like I said, the game did just come out, so these are kind of first impressions. I haven't put a ton of hours into it. Maybe I'll put in more and do an update video at some point, but I wanted to get on here, talk about the game a little bit. That way, if it sounded interesting to you guys, you could hop in and check it out. If you guys enjoyed the video, you know what to do. I've been streaming over on my Arash live channel recently, so if you want to sub over there, you can catch some live streams, and you can also catch different types of content over there. Other than that, follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you all next time.